Welcome to the Brothers Sinatra podcast, the only podcast featuring two swinging brothers talking about the Amazing Digital Circus.
And sometimes other Glitch Productions.
Sure, I'm Jack Sinatra.
And I'm Tyler Sinatra.
And we're the Brothers Sinatra. And we got an interesting show for you today. It's going to be a little shorter than normal because we're not actually talking about, we're not dissecting an episode, okay?
Yeah, we're not really getting in deep.
Usually we're talking about something 20,
surgically.
30 minutes, 90 minutes sometimes. This time, we're only talking about a trailer that's like a minute long, but there's really only 30 seconds of trailer, and then the rest of it is text.
It's like announcement text, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll dig into that. We will go frame by frame. There's a lot of pictures, they flash to different
There's
pictures.
stuff going on, and you gotta know what's happening.
But here's the thing. I'm so pissed.
Why are you pissed?
You guys haven't been respecting each other's ships. So guess what? All ships are canon now.
All ships canon. Ha! Idiots.
That, of course, was one of our
Gooseworx.
great quotes from the great mind of Gooseworx, which we'll also have just a fun little, roundtable discussion between two brothers on some of what Gooseworx has been saying, as well as some of the official releases from Glitch Productions, things that Glitch Productions has said about the theatrical release of the Amazing Digital Circus. And then we're going to talk about Glitch Productions' newest thing, came out a couple days ago, the Gameoverse. So stick around if you want to hear us talk just high level about Gameoverse. We're not going to get too in-depth today because we're excited about possibly going on a deeper dive in the future, but we did both watch it, and we'll give our first thoughts. So.
I'll give my second thoughts.
Oh, will you? You're going to give your first and your second thoughts.
Yeah, I'm going to give them both, Jackie.
Okay. Well,
if they're ready.
Sure. They better be ready because we're ready to get these people going, and the only way to get them going is if they're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the various ways, basically wherever you can get podcasts, you'll find us. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
All right?
You don't really even have to look that hard. You could just kind of type in the Brothers Sinatra.
Yeah, type in the Brothers Sinatra. Go to
It'll
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, go to YouTube. YouTube has the full podcast video episodes. So does Spotify.
Yeah.
Find us on social media. Send us an email. Go to veryentertaining.biz and just click buttons. Okay?
Comparatively, our social media is wildly different than the podcasts. I just gotta,
sure.
We're doing, we sing, we swing, we do little videos. We do these podcasts. Folks, you got to check us out on all the different platforms.
Listen, we're the Brothers Sinatra.
And maybe even go to our website.
We sing. That's what we do mainly, okay? But when we're not singing, a lot of times we're watching these goofy shows, and then we want to talk about it, and, we want to let you in on the discussion. So if you have a comment, go ahead and leave it, okay? We might mention it on the show.
You can leave a comment.
If you leave a comment.
Yeah, if it's... there's more of a chance if it's mean that I'm going to see it. Yeah. Jackie reads the nice comments. Yep. I focus on the mean ones.
Well, to be fair, most of the mean ones are targeted at you.
With social media.
I get a lot of the nice ones. You get a lot of the nasty ones.
They must know that during 2012 to 2016, 17, I was just a terrible internet person because I'm getting all of it back in droves.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of that internet karma coming right back at you,
Oh, it's coming. Don't say mean things to people on the internet, folks. It always comes back to you.
Yeah. You just got to be polite. And, that's what we're all about here. Just being polite, having a polite discussion amongst brothers about some great content.
Turns out even when you try to be polite and make a joke, people still delete their account because they think you're being mean to them.
Yeah, some people are sensitive. We don't have to go too much.
It's not.
We don't have to go into it.
Further into it.
But listen, we're talking about the trailer for episode 9 of the Amazing Digital Circus, and of course, episode 9 is going to be the second part of the theatrical release, which is going to be episodes 8 and 9. So we've already seen 8. We're going to get a little refresher in the theater when we're sitting there with our popcorn. We're going to watch 8 again, and then, bam, we're going right into 9. It's going to be an actual feature-length thing, I hear. So
Yeah, it's going to be a 90 minutes combined.
So
with
episode 9 is going to be a full
9's
hour.
9's going to be an hour.
Yeah. So we're going to have 90 minutes. That's a solid film. And, for me, 90 minutes is enough, okay? Miss me with the 2-hour movies, all right?
Often when I'm searching for movies to watch, I will type in good 90-minute movies from, and then like the decade that I'm looking for, because a lot of times I'm looking to watch movies from like specific decades versus like right now. It's fun to watch new movies, but sometimes you got to get in an 80s movie. Sometimes you need a 90s movie. And if you type in 90-minute movies from the 90s, there's a lot of good picks that come up for you.
That's why they made them 90 minutes, because it was the 90s.
Pro tip. The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. It's around 90 minutes. Great movie.
That is amazing to me. 90 minutes?
It's around 90.
I mean...
It's not exactly 90, but...
I was going to say, there's so much adventure packed in there. How could it possibly be 90?
Right.
But listen, we could talk about Brendan Fraser and the Mummy all day, Tyler. We got to get to this trailer and start talking about it. So here's what we're going to do, okay? I'm going to go kind of blow by blow with what happens going through the trailer. And if you ever have a great thought or, hey, I think this is going to happen, this
all my thoughts are
in
great.
episode 9, well, sure, that's up for debate, in the comments, as we've said. However, we're going to
hit me in the comments.
And then I'm going to keep us on the rails. And whenever you want to take us off the rails, then, just go ahead and give it a shove. Shove us off the rails.
I'll shove us right off the rails. I'll do that weird alternate trolley problem thing that everybody's been talking about on the internet, but the red button and the blue button, which I am convinced has come from the Digital Circus, where they're all like, oh, red button, blue button.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you folks, the red button people who are like, do you know what I'm talking about right now?
Not specifically.
The red button, blue
There's
button
a lot
thing?
of two-button, memes throughout the past 10 years.
Right, but like the new one is, if you hit the red button, everybody who hits the red button survives, but if it's over 50% of the people hit, everybody in the world, right, is hitting the button.
Oh yeah,
and
I
it's
have
all
seen this
in
actually
secret.
Now that you're explaining
right, yeah, and it's like if over 50% hit the red button, everybody who hits the blue button dies, but if over 50% of the people hit the blue button, everybody lives. And everyone's like, well, logically you hit the red button because you live regardless. And I'm looking at these people, I'm like, do you understand that this is like a test of like your moral scrutiny? It's not trying to figure out how to survive the situation. That's not what the question's asking you. The question's trying to figure out whether you're gonna... I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna say some words. The question's asking you is whether you're like okay with genocide or not, is essentially what it's asking you. And I don't think anybody's clocking that when they're being like, well, logically, I'm going to survive. And if everybody hits that's the whole point, folks. The point is that the people who are hitting the blue button are like, I want everybody to survive. And honestly, if over 50% hit that red button, I don't want to be around for it anyway. Because the people who are hitting that red button, they got something wrong with them.
Yeah, to me, they should have just switched the colors of the buttons to confuse people even more because, people are so color-coded. It's like,
Yeah,
it's like, give us a green button and a yellow button. Like, give us some non-primary colored buttons.
It's not like the whole thing, they're trying to make it like Republican that's not what it is. It's like it's not even an advanced trolley problem. It is like a lower stakes sort of silly trolley problem that is easier to answer. Because ultimately everybody has to hit the button. In the trolley problem, the whole thing about it is you don't have to pull the lever. And the other argument is like you escape culpability completely because you have no interaction with the situation. That's a different moral question than what's happening right now. Everybody who hits the red button is an idiot. Sorry, we can move on. You said if I wanted to push it off the rails, I was.
But maybe in the context of the trailer discussion is what I was hoping. So let's get into it. This is supposed to be a short podcast.
Technically, there
folks.
was a red and blue button.
All right, so we start
Let's just go, Jackie.
with some somber music, okay? And then all of a sudden, we see a flash of the black and white digital circus. We hear Pomni saying, "Are you sure?" To which Ragatha replies, "That means ... All of a sudden, we see Kinger at the head of our group. He's talking to everybody in the black and white circus with his bucket half on his head, seeming to imply to me that he's somewhat cogently communicating now that, Kane is gone and we're in the black and white circus. Then we flash to Gangle and Zubul sitting down against the wall, commiserating. Then we flash to someone offering a hand to Ragatha. I kind of analyzed it. I think it's Pomni's hand that is reaching out to Ragatha. Then we flash to Pomni standing alone in the black and white digital circus. Then we flash to Jax, who turns and smiles in color. Seemingly a flashback to me, and his pupils are huge, so I think that's Jax back before when he was, still untainted by the circus. So I'm going to pause there. Anything to say on anything I just went through?
Yeah, Jackie, I think, even though I do... so, we talked about this earlier. Kinga with the bucket on his head, I do think it's coherent, but I also am still a firm believer of the fact that Kane is the reason that Kinga was going insane, and I don't think he will need the bucket.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
However,
The bucket is not all the way over his eyes. So
right,
I think
okay,
I think
okay.
that it's implying that he is now not insane.
Like cogent all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. So if that is the case, and I'm sorry that I misunderstood you, if we're pulling the same information from that, I think, and with the Zubul swear at the end of episode 8, I think essentially all of those rules that Kane went through at the beginning are moot. Mm-hmm. Maybe we're going to get names. We already sort of have an idea of what Kinga's name is because of him typing on the console. People in the fandom believe his name to be Grant. I would say it's like a 99%, where we're at right now. But he's the only one that we have the official name for, but Gooseworx has said people have guessed other characters' names, just not as themselves. Mm-hmm. And people have postulated that, Gangle's name is Daisy, but now people are saying maybe Zubul's name is Daisy because Kane keeps singing Daisy Bell outside
that would make more
Zubul's
sense
room.
To me. That would make a lot of sense to me. I think that would be a nice payoff, actually. I didn't even think about that.
I think it would be, too. I'm kind of excited for it. And there have been, some other name drops that haven't been confirmed for characters, but Gooseworx has said, little cheeky response. Maybe you guys know more than you think you do. Maybe.
Yeah. To me, you can't really trust anything that Gooseworx is saying.
Oh, yeah.
Very
I
unreliable
think half of
narrator with regards to
is,
where this is going to go. And there's one tweet in particular.
But to be honest, good. I'm so glad that Gooseworx is messing with people because the fandom is...
They're insane, and I cannot blame anything that Gooseworx, does from a crash-out perspective, which we'll get into that
not at all.
after we go through the trailer.
It's funny, we were talking about the tweets before we got on, and I scrolled down a little bit, and I'm like, there's one that's in the midst of some more controversy that the cast had about a Jackbox game thing. We'll just get into it later.
We'll get into it after. Okay, so we just ended with Jax doing the turn and smile in color, so that's our only kind of colorful image that we see so far in the trailer. And again, I really think that that's pointing to a pretty extended flashback, and there's more evidence of that further forward in the trailer. We hear Ragatha say, "Please, just," and then Jax cuts off and says, "Now we have nothing." Pomni says, "I don't know what's going to happen." Which is great. Neither do we, Pomni. And then we see a bunch of flashing images. We see Jax, his mouth close up in the black and white circus. Then we see Kinger close up in the black and white circus, still with the bucket kind of half on, but we see his eyes. We see Jax with an outline in static, which is interesting. What do you think that's about? The outline of Jax in kind of a static, like a fuzzy TV static.
So my this is shaded by what I think is going to happen just generally. I think Jax. We've already sort of discussed how all of the different circus people can conjure things, and they have more power in the digital circus than they think they do. Jax has had keys to all of the rooms, all this stuff, and now we're in a place where there is no ringleader. And in the previous episode, Jax used his will to keep everybody there. My thought is he was having flashbacks during that portion. He was having a bit of, real world flashbacks, things that have happened to him in real life. And it was like a car going down a street. Now, you can take a lot of different things from that. My thought is that he did Jax, much like the trailer implies. Have you ever done anything you regret? And I think in the trailer, the viewer is like, oh yeah, in the digital circus. But I think that Jax has done something in his real life that he regrets, that he knowingly escaped to the digital circus to get away from. And how else would you keep everybody here but becoming the ringleader yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's what the static is. It's like him sort of dissipating into becoming or accepting that he'll be part of the system, or non-human anymore. All the parts of him that were human are blurred, static. You can't see him anymore. It could be a lot of different things, but that's sort of what I'm thinking. He's getting disillusioned, completely inhuman.
Okay. So here's some other possibilities. Maybe it's when he first enters the circus. And I don't remember if it's completely black and white at this moment, but maybe it is.
I think it's a black background with his.
However, just throwing out possibilities. It could be when he enters the circus for the first time and the flashback actually takes us further back than we think it's going to go. It could be that he's going into the flashback where maybe he's conjuring the flashback as an actual thing other than a memory, and he's actually going there. Especially one of the reasons why I think that could be the case is you kind of referred to that moment with Ribbit, and we'll talk more about that kind of when we get there chronologically. But we are kind of POV in that moment, and we can assume that we're probably POV as Jax. So maybe it goes right from that static phase into us in the POV of Jax. That's a possibility. And then the other thing could be that's how he dies, and that's him gone. And I kind of doubt that would be the case. I think it would be. I don't think they'd give that away in a trailer, but it's still possible.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is it could be, since there's no Kane, maybe abstraction is different in this case, and Kane is the reason that when you abstract, you don't just disconnect from the receiver, as it were, right? It's that's what happened. That's what happens when you unplug your game static happens when you unplug your game console from the TV, and you just unplug it. It's off, instead of keeping the game plugged in and having your character die, or maybe it's he got unplugged too. You know what I mean? And it's just literally he's not connected.
What if
anymore.
Other people escape the circus and he chooses to stay, and that is the end?
Hey,
it'd be kind of bleak.
I gotta tell you, that's also. I mean, that's the source material sort of right there. It wasn't. I don't think it was a choice, but it was if we have a chance to get out, this is the only chance, and if we're gonna do it, I'm the one who's got to initiate it, and if I initiate it, I might not make it. So,
it could be a sacrifice. It could be that he's the one that has to stay, and others, are able to leave. Okay, so we talked about the static. The next thing that we see is Zubul, Pomni, and Ragatha in the black and white circus, just kind of standing there. Then it flashes to Jax standing in a doorway with light projecting in front of him and a long shadow behind, and his eyes, you can interpret in a couple of ways. His pupils are kind of small, which could just be because there's so much light in the room, but it looks like either a look of wonder, possibly of fear of the unknown, and again, it's hard to know if this is early Circus or, since it's so black and white coded, if this is a moment that happens kind of, now. But, Jack's kind of being wrong-footed on the back foot by whatever is in front of him with regard to this door with light coming out. Then we see Pomni crying, shocking, and then we see Ragatha looking dejected.
That's not
so
very
not
nice.
A lot to pull. Well, to be fair, she's not the most. Pomni does have a lot of emotion, but not as much as Gangle, let's say. But I would expect Pomni to cry in the finale. So I'm just saying there's nothing we could pull from that. I'm not dissing Pomni in any way.
Sounded like it.
And then Ragatha says, "What do we do now?" Pomni tearfully says, "I really wanted to help." So what do we think that Pomni's talking about? I really wanted to help. Is that just the whole thing with getting rid of Kane and possibly some controversy over the what happened? We kind of ruined our lives in here by getting rid of Kane.
So there's like a couple different things I've thought about with this, specifically because I think they're gonna get their memories back. I think that some of these people might be like connected on the outside. We don't know how long these people have been here, or like their mind files, whatever your head canon is for what's going on in the circus. There's a possibility that these people like know each other, or you know what I mean? And we know that Kinga and Queenie knew each other outside of, because they like have a moment. They're like, I just wish I knew your name. You know what I mean? It's one of those, they recognize each other. I've thought almost from the beginning that abstracted persons are either like replaced, or like people are coming back in to replace them intentionally, but like either intentionally or by accident, right? But I've always sort of been like, there are people coming in to try to help. We know that Pomni's backstory is like, I like to sneak into abandoned buildings or whatever.
Yeah.
But could she have known? Like the game was going on. The TV could have been on. She put on the VR headset. She's like, guys, help me get this off. She's referring to other people in the room when she's like, my thought was always like, oh, are these people seeing what's going on this TV? And like, I'm going to try to help like what's going on in here. And it's like, maybe that's Pomni speaking from like her human standpoint, not anything she's done in the circus. It's like, why did you even? I was just trying to help. I came into this place. I put myself in here to help you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that would be very interesting.
That would be interesting
too, where it's like, outside of it, they understood what was going on inside, and they came in anyway. Would be so interesting. And that's what
You also wonder what the time scale is like inside versus outside. Like how much
because
are
a day
the people
could be
still in the room with Pomni and only seconds have passed and she's lived like this alternate lifetime, and similar other folks.
Exactly. And we have no idea. Kinga too, it's like he walked for we don't even know how long, but that could have been 20 minutes in real time. We have no idea what the scale of time outside versus inside is.
Especially if no one's maintaining the hardware. You only have so much time before it would just kind of break down, unless there is someone on the outside who is like the mastermind who is doing this whole thing. I would think it'd be the Occam's razor of it for me from that perspective.
Really scratches an itch for me.
Would be, I really think that, it's more likely that it is truly abandoned. It was this CNA project that went bad. They abandoned it, and now it's just sitting there for anyone to happen upon it. I think that's what it is, but there is still a possibility that there's someone on the outside that is the real bad guy, you know?
Yeah. Well, I do think it's an accident. There's like so many things that are going on. It's impossible to know. I hope they don't fumble the ball, Jackie. That's all I keep thinking.
Yeah, I mean, landing the plane has to happen in this kind of final push, and that, as we've seen with so many other shows, Game of Thrones being probably the number one example that people always bring up. It is, you can have the most successful run, and if you get it wrong in the final, then it really puts a bad taste in your mouth for just like going, even if you go back, it's like you kind of know how it's going to end. So there is a lot riding on this. There's high potential for people to get upset. And guess what? Some people are going to be upset no matter what happens, because that's just the nature of fandom.
Oh, yeah.
And people that are in camps, and there are
upset.
people that hate Jax. And I got to tell you, there's going to be a lot of Jax in this finale. And so the people that don't like Jax aren't going to like that. So it just is what it is.
There was a meme I saw on Reddit today where it's like me worrying about the biggest problems of the Digital Circus movie, and it says that Jax has like 30 to 40% of screen time, or is on screen for 30 to 40% of the time. I was like, all of them should be on screen for more than 40% of the time. I don't know how you're divvying up, but he's one of the 5 main characters of the show.
Yeah.
There's only 5 people left, right? Right, yeah, there's 5 characters left. Yeah, if he even shares a scene with 2 people, unless he's on his own the entire time, 30% of the screen time is a low. It's low. He might be on screen for 60% of the time.
But I mean, we are getting this flashback. I think that's pretty clear. So you know that he is going to get time at the expense of other characters that weren't in the circus at that time. So it's possible that, I think obviously Pomni is going to get plenty. I think Jax is possibly going to get the most out of anybody other than that. And then Kinger will probably come in a close third, I would imagine, because he was also around in the previous time.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I think Zubul and Gangle are clearly getting the least amount of time, just with not only what Gooseworx has said about considering Pomni and Jax to be the main characters, which is, telling, and obviously people were upset by that, but also just the narrative structure of what's happening and what we can see in this trailer about what is going to happen right now. So then we see Zubul concerned. We see Pomni sitting on a black and white set of stairs, looking to the right. We don't know what she's looking at. We see Gangle's mask, which I think is the plastic mask, if I'm not wrong. Is that the plastic Gangle mask that we see? It's a really quick flash. It's got, and she's kind of making like an O face, not a tragedy or comedy face. And there's a swirl underneath one eye and a star underneath the other eye.
Yeah, that's the plastic one.
So that's coming back. Why?
That's the manic mask.
So we don't know why, but that plastic mask is coming back. And yeah, you would have to assume that that's going to be in the present day, because Gangle is probably not going to be part of this flashback that's going to occur.
Yeah, and the background is also black and white.
Yeah. And then in black and white...
Oh, wait, no, it's not. Sorry.
It's not?
It's red.
Okay.
Weird. Yeah, I just looked at it.
So you have to imagine that we're going to get out of the black and white at some point, so maybe that is projecting forward a little bit. We see the black and white outside of the big top with stars kind of rapidly circling above, creating that kind of hyperspace look. And then we flash to Jax in the colorful circus, kind of turning towards the camera. And then it flashes to Jax in the black and white circus, holding out his hands like this as if he's carrying a body to me. And then he puts his arms down with Ragatha, Gangle, Zubul, and Pomni
it's kind of like
behind him, kind of, in formation.
Yeah, it's like his shoulders up too. He kind of...
So to me, that kind of speaks to, that must be the end of the flashback, maybe. And then he, like, relaxes. I don't know. And then we see Pomni carefully opening a red door. So Pomni opening doors is kind of something that happens
Classic
a lot.
Pomni.
Classic Pomni. Is this a door that she created, or is this a door that was already there? Can they be as creative in this new black and white world as they were when Kane was running things? I say probably. I think that's going to be probably a big part of what occurs is they're going to have to basically, figure out how to use this whole manifestation business that Kinger has shown and described and Pomni has maybe done once. But again, it's not clear if Pomni actually did that or if there's some other force that made her think she did that. And then we get Pomni saying, Jax, and then we fade. So everything has been like a quick cut, but this is the first time we slow fade after Pomni says, asks Jax. We fade into colorful stars and nebula, and then we realize it's a POV in a second, but we get a mysterious voice. That's how it is in the captions. So it's probably Ribbit. I'm going to say it's probably Ribbit, but it's not confirmed. It just says mysterious voice, and it says, have you, ... ever done something that you regret? And then we see that it's a POV looking at the stars and then turning and seeing Ribbit on the left-hand side of whoever's POV this is. I wrote probably Jax, probably in the flashback, and then it cuts to black from there. That's the last thing we see until we get to the text. So, yeah, I think that this is obviously the biggest moment of the trailer of, oh my gosh, we see Ribbit in live action, Ribbit doing something for the first time, not just a photo with an X on a door, not just people talking about Ribbit offhand. We're going to actually get some of this story played out in action. So...
Yeah, Jackie, I just pulled up the poster for the release, and there's a lot of cool stuff going on in it too.
Yeah, so talk about it. What's in the poster?
It is. So, poster is like, what's that stair? That classic
MC Escher?
Stairs and all. Yeah, the Escher painting where all the stairs. It's sort of like an Escher painting.
We were just
but it's
talking
digital.
about crazy stairs the other day.
We're just like crazy stairs. Oh no, crazy stairs. Yeah. It's kind of like crazy stairs. There's like Jax's head is superimposed over it like 4 times. He is part of the circus. He is like part of the structure of the stairs, and all of our other characters are like walking up the different levels. There's like checkered floors. All of it is his wide eye sort of thing, not his pin eye.
Yeah, so
and
probably past Jax.
He like 3 of his heads are pretty much complete, but one of his head is split in half, and like the floor is like half of his head, and the stairs are going like into his brain. But then part of the back part of his head, all of the Ribbit hands from his like Terra dream are like coming out of the back of his head. And there are butterflies, and there are doors with keyholes in them, and Pomni's in the forefront, and she's turned back, and she's looking like, oh no, crazy, something's happening. And everyone looks worried except Kinger, who's like trying to grab a butterfly. But like everybody's looking up seemingly at like their surroundings and like very worried about what's going on.
Sure.
Jax is smiling and Kinger is oblivious. And then in the top left corner, there's that cafe that they went to, the little, you know how Jax had that cup of, that mug of hot chocolate or whatever with the decadent whipped cream.
Yep.
There's one of those on there too. Very interesting.
Very nice.
And looks like in the back right, it's like the old Windows pipe screensaver.
Oh, yeah.
That used to like go...
Yep. I remember it well.
I think, yeah, I just think that even solidifies more in my mind that Jax is going to start leading the circus, to be honest with you.
Yeah, also it points to Jax just being maybe the critical character, so all the anti-Jax people are going to be very angry.
Yeah, sorry, anti-Jax people. I don't want to be like, you should have known from the beginning when he was slightly
I
unlikable,
think
but at the same time,
let's let's
Gex.
go ahead and reserve our judgment until we see this arc out. We can judge all the character arcs once they are completed, and then maybe we'll go back and
Yeah.
revisit some of the problematic things. But also remember that they are in a video game world where there are virtually no consequences except for abstraction, which clearly
Right.
terrifies him and like gives him emotions that we don't see until later. He's a complicated character and yeah, very unlikable. But if you read some of the Gooseworx, tweets and whatnot, I think you can kind of see, where Jax gets some of some of the ways that he communicates. Gooseworx is a complicated person, as I've learned over, the past couple days of just going back and reading some previous tweets, and it all comes from Gooseworx at the end of the day. So you can think of all these characters as, the different facets of who Gooseworx is, and I think we all have that. We all have these different, thoughts and things inside of us, and they can manifest in different ways. So, I think that Jax is just the id ultimate in the beginning, but then it gets more complicated after that. So let's talk about the text that pops up then. We get the Amazing Digital Circus Episode 9, a 1-hour series finale. So it's going to be 1 hour plus the 30 minutes of Episode 8. Drops on YouTube and Netflix June 19th, 2026. So that is Juneteenth. They're Australian, so you can't hold it against them. They're not trying to do anything. That's fine.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
for a limited time only, you can experience Episode 9 early as The Amazing Digital Circus, The Last Act, a feature-length theatrical experience combining Episodes 8 and 9 in the U.S., Canada, Latin America, and Japan theaters so far, in parentheses. Screening from June 4th, 2026. That is 2 weeks from this Thursday as we record this today. So it's really getting close to crunch time here.
it's getting close.
And you
I'm
can buy
crunching
tickets
already.
now at digitalcircus.movie. Okay? So
I'm thinking about it.
don't be one of those people that goes out and tries to get, some kind of a pirated copy of this. Go to the theater. You're never going to get to do this again. Once this theatrical release is gone, it's only going to be on your small screen. So I think it's great that this indie company, that I've been watching a few of their other pilots, the fact that they're putting something up in a fairly wide release, on the big screen, and have the confidence to put something up there that they think can be the visual quality to stand up on the big screen, I think is really impressive and probably is making them very nervous right now. But I think it's going to be a fantastic event. I don't know when I'm going
I think it'll be
but I'm
successful.
definitely going to go see it in the theater. I think it's going to be in the theater all the way from June 4th, basically right up until the release day on Netflix and YouTube. So there's plenty of chances to do it. And, we're definitely going to see it beforehand and talk about it before the digital release. So I would do that. I would put your money where your mouth is. If you're talking about the Amazing Digital Circus, you love it, you hate it, but you're invested in it in some way, give these creators some money and let them do more stuff. I want to see more episodes of the Gameoverse coming out more
I want to see
consistently.
more episodes of the Gameoverse.
And we'll get to that in a second. All right. But that's it for the trailer. So any final thoughts on the trailer or what we expect to see in Episode 9?
I think it gave us just enough to make me think about it, but not enough to tell me anything at all.
Yeah, a lot of it was
Which is what I want
vague,
in a trailer.
But I think if you're going to have one takeaway, it's that Jax is going to have a lot of important stuff. We're going to see Ribbit. We're going to see a flashback. And, the whole Jax static thing, I think, is the biggest question mark for me. What exactly does that mean? Is that important? What is that going to happen to other people? So there's a lot on the table there. So let's move on, Tyler, to a little, it's not quite a news roundup. It's like a little, just talking about a couple of things from a Glitch Productions side and a Gooseworx side that have been coming out over the last weeks and, month or so. What have they been saying? What have they been doing? This theatrical release has not gone off without a hitch. There's been a couple of bumps in the road. So I'll start on the Glitch Productions side. And I'm just going to pull up. There were a couple of, they post a lot on Instagram and on Twitter and whatnot. But basically, there was a release that they did that we mentioned before. When they released this trailer and people started realizing that they're doing this theatrical release and they're not releasing it on YouTube first, basically, people got very upset. So Glitch felt the need to do this full-on kind of press release style. Even on Instagram, they just have a picture of effectively a document. So I'm just going to read a little bit of that here. So basically, after the kerfluffle, we get, hey, everyone, Kevin, CEO of Glitch here. I wanted to jump in and talk directly about the theatrical release of Digital Circus finale and it being 2 weeks before the YouTube release. The reason we're pushing for all this is because, and this is bolded now, this one event has the potential to change how the entire industry views indie animation. If this works, if we get a YouTube animated series into thousands of theaters globally, it opens the door not just for us, but for many creators, many projects, and the future of original creator-led storytelling. And he goes on to say a lot more, but I think that just about says it. So, don't take my word for it. This is the guy kind of running the show at Glitch. I know that there are many stages of indie. There's the people that do everything themselves. There's the people that have teams, but they're not quite making a career and it's more part-time. But this really is a chance to not directly give you money to, the Paramounts of the world and,
Warner Brothers.
Yeah, Warner Brothers and all of there's Skydance, buying up HBO and Warner Brothers.
Lionsgate.
Everything is getting consolidated into, very few hands where there's so much power in the hands of very few in the industry. So this is a rare opportunity for everybody to come in and actually, do one for the indie folks, okay? And then
do one for the indies.
The only other Glitch thing that I wanted to talk about is this is a tweet that they did on May the 9th, so just a week ago as we record this. Talking about there's been some theater cancellations. So again, this hasn't gone off without a hitch. It's definitely their first time doing this, and I can't even imagine trying to, get something
to deal
out
with,
there.
Like overseas censors and
Different
stuff like
countries
that.
and whatnot.
Yeah, that's insane to me.
So they said, if there's been any theater cancellations or an inability to enter a region, we want you to know that we've been trying our best. There's ratings, compliance, security policy, and legal rules specific to each country and theater chains that we are trying to navigate around the clock. Some regions are straight up rejecting our distribution because there are censorship laws, and we refuse to change the original version of this show. In other regions, there are laws that say that we can't due to how close it is to its streaming release. Any cancellations or refusals have been due to security concerns. For example, one distributor wanted us to email them the raw video file so that they could then mail it to ratings agencies by post.
No.
This is how leaks
Absolutely
happen,
not.
and we take this very seriously. This, however,
Absolutely
does not mean that we aren't trying it still relentlessly to enter these regions. We also want this finale to be accessible in as many countries as possible. Thank you all for helping the TADC finale get this far. So you got to be understanding about it. It's no sweat off my back because my feed is going to have it. So I'm not mad.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it either. The thing is, the raw file thing, oh my gosh, that's literally how, I'm pretty sure, like, not exactly, it was a Paramount employee for the Avatar thing, but like the reason it got leaked was because somebody had a raw file and they were like, well, I'll just put the whole thing on Twitter. There you go. if one person has it, anybody that person is in contact with could have it. Not just the censors, not the. It's like, oh God, I could not imagine having a property worth as much as the Amazing Digital Circus is, and like having a flash drive. You know what I mean? It's like all of the content's in there, and you're asking me to give up like a golden ticket essentially. It could mean millions of dollars or zero if it gets released early. You know what I mean? It's like, a tenuous line to be walking. I don't wish to ever have to have anything that complex come across my desk, Jackie.
Yeah, I agree. So that's what I had from a Glitch production standpoint. You know, they might have gotten a few other messages other than those two out, but those are the two main kind of more press release type things that I saw from them in the lead up to this theatrical release. And if you don't have anything else from that standpoint, I recommend that we go to a little corner that I like to call "Let's Read Some Crazy Gooseworx Tweets," because there are some really crazy Gooseworx tweets, Tyler.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of them.
Let's just go one for one. You give one and I'll give one, you know?
All right. The one that I like the most is one of the more recent ones. It's should have made my show hornier, to be honest.
So
we love that one.
That's from what? Yesterday, I believe?
That's May 16th. That's literally
May
yesterday.
16th. Yeah. So as we record, that's yesterday.
I think it might be in response to the Gameoverse thing, because Kit like wears a bathing suit, and it like everybody
they
in
do
the
like
bathing
everyone
suits,
does a
like
change into like into beachwear. Yeah,
but it's like definitely more fan service than it's like in the anime vein of fan service versus like the more N64 like sort of corny tongue-in-cheek thing that Gooseworx is doing. It's definitely more forwardly sexual.
They could have, like, you know, especially when they go to the beach, they could have had like a Lara Croft, like, wait, where did these come from kind of situation. But, you know, low-hanging fruit, as they say. So the one that I have, it looks like a crash out. It's like a thread where there's 4 fairly long pieces of this. So I don't know if I'm going to get to the bottom, but I'll just start at the top and we'll kind of gauge. So this was from April 6th, so just over a month ago. It says, next time I see a member of the Digital Circus fandom, in quotes, in real life, I'm shining a blinding light into their eyes and shouting, don't meet your heroes. Don't meet your heroes. Don't meet your heroes. I think it will serve as a good reminder to never meet your heroes in real life. Or maybe, she continues, or maybe I just won't let them know it's me. If they're like, are you Gooseworx? I'll be like, who, me? I don't know who you're talking about. Then I'll shine the blinding light into their eyes and shout something a bit nicer, maybe. I might do it in a more nice way. I'm not sure. I think I need help in figuring out if I love or hate my fans. If I flip and flop back and forth, there's no consistency in my persona, and I feel like it needs consistency. I've been asking all my friends, and they're completely useless as always. I'm just not sure, guys. Where would I even get a light bright enough? I don't think they make lights bright enough to pull off what I see in my head. I imagine an impossibly bright light that doesn't even exist yet. I might need to wait longer before I can pull this one off. The tech isn't there yet. So that's the 4 threads of that one. So just a nice little Twitter crash out. Honestly, maybe the closest that I've seen to a Trump-style social media crash out from Gooseworx there.
I mean, Jackie, I like that one a lot. This one, just scrolling through, I had like, unfortunately, when you're scrolling through Gooseworx's Twitter, you're gonna have to scroll through a lot of reply or like
retweets,
a lot of reposts, retweets of Jax in.
Oh yeah, I saw that section.
Clothes.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Yeah, there's like a whole section of him being held by hands and blushing and. Anyway, There was like a whole I don't know if you're aware of a controversy that went on with some of the voice actors, and they were in a live stream with a Jackbox game, and they used this word that's like or like a filler word spelled Nega, and
okay.
and imagine the E is small I in Italian or what, what I mean? You're saying knee.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can assume and somebody used the word, and throughout the stream they keep joking about it, and it's like not, whatever. They're not saying the word we're all thinking
sure.
of, but they're
getting close.
But
they're beating around the bush
making
there.
light of the other language and the
Yeah.
And I don't know if this coincides, but I just want to point out that was happening during this month, and oh God, where did it go? Because they make an Overwatch reference, and it's crazy. Yeah. So I don't know if you're aware of this, but during when Overwatch was flipping into Overwatch 2, or maybe even before that, they had a character called McCree.
Okay.
And it was named after one of the developers or something like that, and that developer had a bit of a scandal happen, so they changed the name of the character. And it's like scandal for scandal. What if instead of Cole Cassidy, which is the name they changed McCree to, they changed McCree's name to Full Acidity? His ass was full of cum.
Very nice. When was that?
Okay.
When was that tweet?
It's April 24th.
Very nice.
So it's in the last week, and people have been talking about it. It's not as much it was within the last month that all this happened, but it's oh my God, yeah, what shade thrown to Blizzard at the same time? I'm oh God, going through a little controversy of your own.
Here's one. Listen here, Digital Circus fans. I'm going to pour hot liquid lead on your skulls, and you're not even going to scream. You're going to thank me and ask for more. That was on April 14th.
On April 9th, replying to a different person's tweet, it says, I can't even jerk off because I'm too stressed about the Digital Circus. And it's just the Mr. Incredible, where he's like, me too, kid. And he walks off. Oh, God.
Here's another one. Sorry, guys. I know I haven't seen myself lately, but every tweet I've made that you don't like wasn't actually me. It was the Jinn. I was under an evil influence and couldn't control myself. All the tweets you like were actually me, though. That wasn't the Jinn. That was me. So that's nice. There's some fairly crass ones I'm going to skip here.
No, I said...
All right, well,
funny
here's
ones
one
with
for you,
words.
Tyler. Everyone keeps sucking my dick, and it pisses me off. Just
Yeah.
lost everything to my own scam that I haven't even launched yet. Please pray for me. I've decided I like my fans again because I need manpower to defeat a new enemy, the sea. I have no idea what that's in reference to, the sea. Capitalized.
One of my favorites. I like saying ow after my bones crack, even if it doesn't hurt.
I like that one, too.
That's a classic tweet. Classic tweet by Gooseworx. I honestly think we could do an entire podcast where we just go over.
We could literally just sit here all day.
Just read Gooseworx tweets.
But here's another
I make
one.
Cartoons for perverts and farmers.
So much of these are I'm just lacking context because I'm not I would say I'm not part of the fandom, but I'm a fan of the show.
Right,
and
no, I get it.
So this one from April 26th, I feel like I should say, if you think you're on my side by saying genuinely racist, hateful things to black people in the fandom, then it is my personal belief that you should shoot yourself in the head with a gun.
Yeah.
Tough words.
That's a direct like
Tough but
there was
fair.
like there was the thing that happened at a convention where somebody came in and they were banned from the convention, but they got in anyway and they were running amok.
Yeah.
Not very cool, folks. You shouldn't do that.
And then the last one I want to go for is from about a week ago.
Oh my God.
Why don't you go? Because mine isn't funny. It's more about
This
the
is so,
project.
no, mine's just stupid. I'm like slowly scrolling down and reading more of them, and I'm like, this person is like equally as insane as me, and I don't know how I feel. What if instead of Birdo, like the character from Mario 2,
Yeah.
what if instead of Birdo it was Birdo and a snout extended out into a Homer Simpson's bald head?
Creative genius.
That's perfect.
So the last one here, and then we'll go into just a quick discussion of Gameoverse. People are, in anticipation of the theatrical release. It got out there that it's not done yet, and so this is kind of talking about it being unfinished. Gooseworx says, I should clarify that I'm just personally going in and doing a bunch of color grading myself. It's very close to being done, and I want it to be perfect. I don't want people to get the wrong idea that it's still super unfinished. So there was some rumor that, like, they were still...
Yeah.
The thing is, with animation projects like this, that would be so crazy. You could not have this be, like, unfinished in that way. It's just there's a lot of detail work that has to go into making sure everything, because when you have a team of animators working on an animated show, you got to make it all cohesive, and you literally have different people animating, the same characters across different parts of the show. So there's a lot of work that needs to go into every aspect. So that is our little Gooseworx tweet corner, and I think that, maybe in the future we'll delve into other Gooseworx properties and then possibly, have another one there, because it's a lot of fun dipping your toe in the Gooseworx Twitter pool.
I like the way it works.
So now I think I don't have any notes written down, but I am going to pull up the Wikipedia page for Gameoverse just so that I can kind of get the characters' names in front of me. And we're just going to have a quick discussion on this. We'll probably go in depth on a future episode. In fact, next week, I think one of the things we're going to do is talk about the 4 pilots that Glitch Productions has come out with, which are Knights of Guinevere, not necessarily in order, by the way. What is it called? The Gaslight District?
Gaslight District.
Gaslight District. Yeah. And then this newest one, Gameoverse, and obviously the Amazing Digital Circus. So we'll kind of do a little comparison. Maybe we'll have different categories where we'll score it, most original, most fun, blah, 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 and we'll kind of come out who has the best score across all those pilots. Something like that. But let's just talk. We both watched Gameoverse. Now, this is, just to give a high level, this is from, of course, your Glitch Productions friends. So it's an independent animated web series created and directed by Ross O'Donovan and co-written by Aaron Hansen, or Arin. It's Arin. So I very commonly, on first guess, get the wrong pronunciation, so I'm sorry to Mr. or Mrs. Hansen. Don't know, it's hard to even know who that is, okay? I'll have to do more research going into the more in-depth one. It's based on a 2009 web series of the same name, which, if you go back and watch the original and see where it ended up, there's a lot that they put into this newer version. It is not the same, but there is some crossover there. We can kind of talk about that maybe a little bit today, maybe a little bit more in the future. The pilot was released on the 15th of May, so that's just 2 days ago as we record, so this is very new. And it is the second Glitch Productions traditionally animated series coming off the heels of Knights of Guinevere, because I believe the Gaslight District... Is it Gaslight or Gaslamp?
Gaslight.
Gaslight District.
Yeah.
That's 3D, correct? That's the only one I haven't seen yet. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
but if if I'm correct, it's been a minute since I watched it. I think it's in that like 20 or like the 12 frames per second thing, the thing that the
Okay.
Amazing Spider-Verse does.
Gotcha.
So it's like sort of, it's not the same animation style as the Amazing Digital Circus while being 3D. It has like a different frame rate.
So if you haven't seen the pilot of Gameoverse, we'll just issue a little blanket spoiler warning. I don't think it's really spoilers because basically everything that you get out of this pilot is just this is the setup for the show. You kind of meet the cast of characters that we think we'll be spending most of our time with, and then you get just some information about how this world works. So at a high level, you have this group of who we consider to be the heroes. They are the good guys, quote unquote, and they are in, a smallish spaceship in the beginning. The Gameoverse is kind of like this universe where each planet is a different game. They're being chased by these enemies. You got like this Darth Vader-ish type bad guy who has a cast of other, lower henchmen bad guys. And basically, both of them in this episode go to a planet for a game. And we find out throughout the course of this that basically our heroes, the good guys, are actually trying to prevent the hero of the game world from winning because winning the game causes the planet to explode, meaning that if the hero wins in the game world, then the planet explodes. So our heroes are trying to prevent the game world hero from winning. The bad guys are trying to help them succeed. So it kind of takes this good guy, bad guy thing and turns it on its head a little bit. It's a really unique kind of angle on this whole thing. And then throughout, there's a lot of just inside video game type jokes. So if you're a child of the 90s or late 80s in particular, there's a lot that you're going to like just in terms of they'll do cutaways to, all of a sudden it looks like Mario. All of a sudden it looks like a Mario 64 Banjo-Kazooie 3D platformer. There's a lot of nice tidbits here and there, but overall the animation style, I'd say just broad strokes, is very anime-based. But it's I don't know how to say this politely. I would say it's like the quality level is maybe at 75% of what I would expect from a top level anime. It's you can tell that it's indie more so than for me. The Amazing Digital Circus, I feel like could have come out of a professional whatever. You don't feel the indie nature. This one, you feel it, but you're constantly surprised by different elements that, number one, I think where they get to in the first episode from a storytelling standpoint and from introducing you to the characters and introducing you to the mechanics of the world is all top level. All of the cutaways that they do to kind of the Mario 3 style map of walking to the different locations.
The overworld maps, yeah.
And everything they did
Great.
from, they're controlling the spaceship with like, it looks like an Xbox controller to me because, whatever, but it could be any game controller, pro game controller. And then they've got, they have one part where the bad guy's using a light gun to shoot. So there's a lot of fun to be had here. I immediately wanted to watch another episode. So what I hope is that this is popular enough that they'll make them at a reasonably consistent pattern, and maybe the quality level and what they're aiming for in terms of that will allow them to do something more frequently than we've seen in the past. With, Knights of Guinevere, the second episode still hasn't come out, and that came out 7 months ago, I want to say. So it's
I
fun,
read online that somebody's postulating, they're like, I think they're going to take all of the money that they make from the theatrical release of Digital Circus and then push to make all of this, the most successful pilot run as like a regular show and then push the rest of them to, move on in a little bit faster of a pace than Digital Circus.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that
money
would be
can
great.
do a lot of things.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, again, this is a team of people that need to actually live life and eat food and live in houses or rental units.
And gas is like $5.50.
Yeah. I mean, The world is a crazy place, and just go buy a ticket. We want to
Yeah,
see
go
more
buy a
episodes.
ticket. I want to see more
Gameoverse.
episodes of stuff.
And then just kind of running through the cast here, we got Erica Lindbeck as Kit, who is kind of our main POV character, basically the Pomni of this show. It's like a cat mixed with Samus or Mega Man, you could say. She's got like the arm gun and is a cat. And you said that there was some Sailor Moon crossover that was possible.
Yeah, well, the transformation to me screams like Neo Sailor Moon, but we're not gonna put in like 5 minutes. Well, it's like a minute of filler to have her transform every single time, but it's enough to be like a little wink and a nod to the classic anime transformation. Like, this is my super suit thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Kit has a companion named Caboodle, who is kind of her backpack. Kind of looks like what's the Pokemon I'm thinking of? Magnetite? No,
Magnemite?
Magnemite.
Oh, you're thinking of Voltorb.
Magnemite.
But
Well, it could be a
I think he's
Voltorb.
more of like Voltorb, kinda.
Yeah, but he's
with
got arms and legs. He's a backpack. He holds the loot and all the stuff. There's one point where we do see Caboodle open. But, Kit and Caboodle, very cute. That's Jay Schlatt.
Very Banjo-Kazooie.
So Jay Schlatt is Caboodle. That's a stage name,
honestly,
I assume.
Yeah, but he's like, it's so funny because I didn't know that was him, and I'm like looking at this now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Schlatt? That's crazy.
They got Schlatt.
It's like very. You know how I said in Knights of Guinevere they had a very prominent YouTuber as one of the. That's like similar level, but sort of different.
Yeah.
Yeah, like different avenues to get where they were. Do you know where they are now?
Yep.
But both like talented individuals for sure.
Then we got Aaron Hansen as Gobbles, who's the Lernosaurus.
Yeah, and Aaron Hansen is another like YouTube guy. It's game. Okay. He's Game Grumps. He's one of the Game Grumps. If you're familiar with that channel.
And
I didn't realize he did both of the voices though, of Flappers and Gobbles.
Yeah, he does Flappers and Gobbles, which are the two kind of original characters from the original cartoon. So that's kind of funny.
Sure. And they're like wildly different voices.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
And Gobbles is kind of like a mini Barney, and Flappers is basically a dim-witted dolphin who's the hero of the world that they go to in the first episode. Then we got Christopher Sabat as Warwick, who's the leader of the Syntax, who are the bad guys.
And Chris Sabat is like voice actor royalty. He's Vegeta. He's like the leader in Black Clover. I forgot his name, but he's Vegeta. He's Piccolo. He's Yamcha in the American Dragon Ball Z. It's and Jackie in the American One Piece. He's Zoro.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Like it's like I forgot. Like I traditionally listen to the Japanese One Piece, so it's like because I can't wait for the dubs to come out, so I just watch the subtitled ones. But oh my gosh, he's such a good voice actor.
Then we got Ross O'Donovan, who's one of the creators, as Fold, who's the paper bad guy who can change shapes and become different things. He also does the voice of the floaties, who are the little drones that are also, they're kind of part of a robot army for the Syntax, so that they have, little things they can fight constantly, I would assume. And then we got Elsie Lovelock as Misinformation, who's kind of like a Carmen Sandiego type woman who works with Fold. They're kind of the two main hench people, and they have this kind of rivalry between them where they're both trying to get into the good graces of Warwick. So they're trying to do, a lot of one-upsmanship, it seems. And then, who else have we got here? We had, there are some others that are supporting a guest. I think we're going to go deeper into this episode, so I don't know if I want to go to blow by blow of what happens, but just high level, what else do we have to say about this? I think it's a lot of fun, and if they do start coming out with more episodes, it's definitely something that that we're gonna go and dissect.
Yeah, Jackie and I are both real big fans of video games. We always have been. Both very large Banjo-Kazooie fans, the platformers generally, and this fits right into our sort of niche, particular style of media that we look for. It's like, this hits all of my little check marks. It's like, oh, it's tangentially about video games, but it has some good character work, and I always liked cartoons. I love the idea of voice acting, all of these things, and I think we've got some great voice acting talent in this. Elsie Lovelock, I just wanted to point out, is also the Gloink Queen.
Oh.
So
very nice.
Glitch has
I'm
used
shocked
that
that she
before.
doesn't have apparently a Wikipedia page, because that's enough for me.
She has
Get
an
the Gloink Queen in
IMDb. She has the Gloink Queen, but she's also it looks like it's a lot of video game voices. Jackie is probably why it's not. You know.
It's a grind out there. It's just like if I was an actor on IMDb, I feel like I would have someone create a Wikipedia for me, especially since AI can just kind of like give you it. But she'll get there.
And she's also Uzi in their Murder Drones show.
Okay,
which
and
is
that's
another
something else
Glitch.
on my list that I gotta check out at some point.
It's fun. It's like Jax's voice actor's in there too, and he's not Jax, and it's very he's good. You can see like the sort of range that he's got.
Cool. So next week we're gonna do a Memorial Day special. I think we're gonna go doing a top 5, and maybe we'll just kind of draw a box around it, say top 5 N64 games. We'll just go kind of 1 for 1, starting at 5, going up to 1, talking some N64, getting all nostalgic. And then I think in the week after, leading up to the release of the new Amazing Digital Circus episode, I think that's when we'll do our comparison of the 4 pilots, just getting back into the glitch. And then
compare, contrast, glitch out.
Absolutely. Glitch out with us, folks.
Yeah, we're going to glitch out.
So I think that just about does it, okay? We went a little longer than I thought we would, but that's fine. It's still shorter than a normal episode.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening to the Brother Sinatra podcast. I'm Jack Sinatra.
And I'm Tyler Sinatra.
And we're the Brother Sinatra. Have a wonderful week.
Yeah. Double it. Glitch out.